Game devs are fed up and the internet saved Sonic. This week on a riot-flavored bowl of dude soup. Seriously, the company's called...
When you say this week on Dude Soup, that's my cue to hit
It's
the
in the
button.
script. I got it in the script.
He's got the script open.
Got it in the script.
Don't go off script. I mean, stay on script. What's this? Don't go.
I'm not Lawrence.
Go off
Mine
book.
always ends with sounds like the end, and then it turns back on it, and then adds the last.
Okay, I
as
got
a
it up now.
postscript.
Try again, please.
Think of it as a bored as hell intro.
Coming is the last. On coming.
Not for
All
all
right.
of us.
Game
This live? You want me to tweet this out? What's the link to this?
Stepped on
What's the
you.
link to this?
It's fine. All
I'll
right,
find
we're
it.
gonna do
I'll find it. I'll
find
do
it down there.
I'll find it. I'll do it.
What a shit show.
All right. Game devs are fed up and the internet saved Sonic. This week on a riot-flavored bowl of dude soup. Wait. Seriously, the company's called Riot. How could they not see this coming? Perfect. See?
That was bored as
I'm a
hell.
comedian. I write jokes.
That was bored as hell intro. That's why I like those intros.
The only thing that would have made it better is a reference you didn't understand.
Yeah.
Bored as hell formatting is set up, something Bruce doesn't understand.
Some payoff about an 80s
Then
movie
a-
that I don't
then a
care
joke.
about. The thing is that you guys don't realize I understand them, but I hate them.
Oh, okay, that's fair. In some ways, you hate yourself.
Exactly.
But if you don't hate yourself, this episode is brought to you by 3 sponsors. Stitch Fix. Get an extra 25% off when you keep everything in your box at stitchfix.com/dudesoup. Hims. Get the Hims Complete Hair Kit for $5 at 4hims.com/dude. And Honey. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/dude. We're going to hear more from those sponsors later on in the show. Lisa's going to do this thing.
Well, this is for her Twitter.
This is for her personal Twitter. Great. Love it. We're going to talk about a couple things this week. We don't have to get too into the weeds on any of them.
We shouldn't.
We should.
No,
we
we
only got
shouldn't.
an hour.
We shouldn't.
Oh, we shouldn't.
No,
yeah,
we shouldn't.
we shouldn't. Yeah. The first thing, the most important thing, we have a Sonic update. Sonic the movie has an update. As you know, last week we discussed in great detail why the internet was so mad about Sonic. Reactions to the trailer that had come out. People were very, very upset.
Have we been vindicated?
While it was number
Vindicated.
1 trending on YouTube, it was also
2 days.
like 50-50 likes to dislikes.
I think it was Wade.
And those likes were probably ironic.
It's like the cruise moms.
What?
The animators' moms liked it.
Oh yeah, the cruise moms. Have you ever done that thing where you tried to influence someone's thoughts just by scrunching up your face and concentrating really hard, like some sort of derpy Professor Xavier? Well, that's a perfect metaphor for what happened last week with Sonic the Hedgehog's feature film debut. That's what a lot of angry people did, except the derpy face was Sonic's, and the people who are being influenced were a bunch of executives that probably didn't care in the first place.
But now they care.
But the thing
Well,
is, we
do they-
already knew what he looked like from the leaked stuff, and then the weird outline where he had human legs.
But we'd never seen him move and talk.
Sure, but I'm just saying, like, there was enough early outcry where, like, this is wrong.
But
this
it
is
wasn't.
bad.
I feel like there wasn't something official. That trailer makes it real.
Yes.
in most people's
Locked
minds,
in.
because they're like, "Oh, this isn't a joke," and I think that's when people.
I'm just
really
saying there
start
were
to get
early
upset.
red flags, but I guess you had to have been paying attention, or they were just like, no, that's just early outcry.
We've
Don't-
been saying from the very beginning that this was going to be garbage. We've
Yeah.
been saying that it was going to be hot trash. And when the trailer came out, I thought we were all vindicated. I was like, yeah, of course it's going to be hot trash as Sonic.
Yeah.
And then why do people complain about it? Of course, garbage, guys.
It's weird. It is weird, and we kind of did touch on it last week about how it's funny that people think that the movie's bad because of how Sonic looks.
Yeah.
no.
Like
No.
when they announced the movie and the first casting they announced was James Marsden as the sheriff.
Yeah.
I went, oh, this is gonna suck. Not because of James Marsden, but because they already knew that they needed this human
Sheriff?
character.
Did you see the post that James Marsden always plays a cuck in everything
I
that
did
he's
see
in?
that.
So we
Yeah.
should talk about that
And
a
it's
little bit more.
absolutely
'Cause he's a
true.
cuck in Sonic. He's a cuck for Sonic
How's he
in this
getting?
movie.
He's getting cucked by Sonic.
He's getting cucked everywhere. And I love James Marsden, but he's getting
yeah,
cucked.
we
Sorry.
should look up the post.
Well, I know
eventually,
Superman
but-
Returns and
Yes.
X-Men.
Yeah.
He gets cucked in
He-
30 Rock.
I think he gets cucked
He's a
by
cuck in 30 Rock.
I think he gets cucked by Kate Bosworth in 2 movies.
He's a cuck in Princess Diaries or whatever movie.
Yeah.
It's a
or
shame.
Enchanted.
He's a handsome man.
No, he's a great
He's a
dude.
good actor, but it's
Yeah.
like he always gets sort of the shit role. Like
And he's
it's
a
like,
nice guy.
yeah. Well, they're like,
He's a
hey,
cuck.
congratulations, you're gonna be in the X-Men movies. Like X-Men comic books are awesome. You're Cyclops. Fuck.
Yeah.
I have a friend growing up who his favorite character was Cyclops, and I think that's a telling.
Is he a cuck?
Well, there's a handful of people. If you're Cyclops, you're probably going to go into law enforcement
Yeah.
because you're like lawful good. Like you don't question
So what
authority.
if you like Wolverine?
Wolverine, you're going to be kind of like a wild,
chaotic good. Right?
yeah, chaotic good. If you're like me, you're a Gambit. Which means you're going to get buried in
You're
piss.
Cajun?
I like to hang upside down and do science experiments. What does that make me?
That's Jubilee.
Thank you.
So anyway, Sonic.
So anyway, after what felt like forever of people shitting all over it and 1,000 YouTube React videos being made,
Yeah.
one I want to shout out specifically, but the director stepped in, Jeff Fowler. This is his first feature, though he is an Academy Award nominated director for his short film Go for Broke, which is a pun.
Okay.
So I feel bad for this guy, number one, because he just kind of like Charybdis sucked him in. He got sucked in by this executive thing where someone called his agent and said, we want to do this.
Headlines read "Foul Ball" by Fowler. Sonic is a miss and a swing and a miss.
He said, thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes. It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. Hashtag Sonic movie. Hashtag gotta fix fast. Wrench emoji. Peace sign.
Okay. Nowhere in there does it say, as the director of this movie, this is my failing. I signed off on all this.
I don't blame him
Well,
at
I was
all.
gonna say,
Not
like,
at all.
this is a team effort of garbage.
This is a
Absolutely,
bunch of
but
studio executives. He is almost certainly a hired gun for
you
this.
think?
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
you
he's
think
a
he's
dude
ever
who
s-
has some clout in that
Okay.
he did a short film that's vaguely related to the subject.
I'm just
matter.
saying when you're adapting Dune, for example, let's say years ago, before all you had was a book and some art that Jaworski did or whatever.
Yeah.
For so you're David Lynch, you go, okay, this is a little tough. With Sonic, you type in Sonic the Hedgehog, go, okay, that's what he looks like.
It's kind of source material.
just a look as a I'm not like you're right. You shouldn't just solely
Oh,
blame the director, but I'm just saying, as the director, don't you go, that doesn't really look like all the stuff I've seen from the old Genesis commercials.
No offense
no.
to him, but Dune has an auteur attached, and Sonic has at Foul Town.
Nice.
No offense, Jeff.
Academy Award. How many
Nominated.
Academy Awards did Jodorowsky be nominated for?
I think a lot.
Also, to be fair though, that Sonic character, if he was like, oh, it looks like this, then a bunch of other people that had millions and billions of dollars were like, hey, no, it's gonna
Yeah.
look like this.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna rebrand.
I just it's confusing because it's at some point you go, who is this for? And they go, well,
Sonic fans.
but it's clearly not because they wanted to change the design something
kids.
so.
It's for kids, yeah.
But it's starring James Marsden, who's not for kids.
We discussed it
He's only
last
for
week.
adults.
There's a disconnect between the studio executives who decided we want to take this property and then sell it to children,
Yeah.
and the actual property, which, while I guess it could be for kids, is so old. It's like, what, 25 years old?
Sure.
27 years old or something like that?
just hit his, like,
that
30.
it only makes sense that the people who grew up on it would have some sort of visceral reaction
But I'm
to
saying that's who you're making it for because these are the only people who are going
Well,
to see your trash movie.
I want to talk about something real quick.
Yeah,
Sure.
please.
The ... at the end of his tweet.
The best he can be, ...
There's something there.
What do you mean, why?
What?
I think that implies that he's pissed off,
ran
that he
out of-
thinks this is dumb as shit. I think he's like just trying to make a fucking movie here, guys.
Really? You
yeah.
think so?
And why wouldn't he be the best he can be? Exclamation
I think
point.
you're projecting.
It's the best he can be. Whimper out, blah.
No,
That's a
not Jeff.
He's
I don't
pissed.
I think that's
He's
his final
pissed.
breath.
That's not the Jeff we know.
That's his soul
Jeff's
leaving
the
his
best
body.
he can
Onward
be.
and upward.
You're right. It should be an exclamation
The best he
point.
can be.
Yeah, it should be.
Yay,
Yeah.
we're
I know,
excited about
what,
Sonic.
What Jeff
He's pissed.
isn't saying is we tested a ton of focus groups on this design, and
The blind love it.
yeah,
Look,
like we didn't just do this without any reason, I guess.
Well, you can't tell people they're wrong.
Sure.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Michael Bay is a genius because he managed to do what Jeff Fowler isn't doing, which is turn the Transformers into a property that kids and adults saw, and he can't do it.
Well, I think because you remember when the Ninja Turtles trailer came out and everyone was upset with how
the
they
CG,
looked.
the CG live.
Oh,
action.
yeah.
I mean, because like even Michelangelo takes off that mask, and I, as a fan of the second movie, not the first movie, but as a fan of the live action Turtles franchise, I got used to it. But I still think they're pretty hideous.
Yeah, they are.
They're hideous, borderline offensive monsters.
I mean, he's right.
well, even Transformers.
But they
though,
didn't change anything.
Did they not in the second one?
No, they didn't change it. They didn't. Even despite maybe it's just because the internet wasn't as laser focused at outcry and grabbing your pitchforks and at rallying against a common cause. But they kept that the same.
I mean, I think Michael Bay would have told people to go fuck
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely.
He absolutely would.
That's the
still-
difference between him and
He still
Foul
did something
Town.
weird, which I don't know how do you remember in the first Transformers? I think Optimus Prime shows himself. Then he goes like, "Hey Sam," and his face mask disappears, and now he has lips.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think he needs those.
no, he does.
But
So
then-
you can see where the voice comes from.
But then, well, because I think in the cartoon his eyes just lit up,
Yeah.
which I thought was, oh, that's smart. You're saving on animation
Animation,
budget
right.
because all the other ones are like, boy, Optimus, I have lips, and it's like weird. But Optimus Prime, who does most of the talking,
Yeah.
they cover his mouth, and I was like,
Drive from space.
but I'm just saying that's genius though. That you're
Yeah,
like, you
but-
could save on animation budget.
But that's not how Michael Bay thinks.
Right.
Michael Bay probably only put lips in there for the explicit reason is to burn the cash that it costs to make lips, so that way he can say, no,
Sure.
those old cartoons, they're shit. They didn't even draw the lips, but I paid an extra $50 million to give him lips that nobody wants.
exactly
That's
right.
Michael Bay.
I was one of those people though, because when the first Transformers came out, I went, okay, cool, I'll go see this. Oh, it's got Linkin Park in it. He's got flames on the side of the truck. Weird. He's got lips. Like everything's weird about this movie, but it's at least still Transformers. It's a commercial product, which it was meant to be. But we all, I thought, agreed Bumblebee.
Bumblebee's great.
And,
Bumblebee's good.
Oh,
and,
Bumblebee's
and it's
great.
all the Gen 1, like Optimus Primes, all that shit on Cybertron was pretty awesome.
That
yeah.
opening's awesome.
Yeah, and I don't think you see Optimus's lips.
Well, regardless,
No, you don't, yeah.
regardless of the design issues, Paramount is going to fix it. That's what Foul Town promised us, and no matter the cost.
I mean, there's a cost.
Well, I was
lot-
gonna say,
a lot of
which in
money
this
and a lot
case
of time.
translates loosely to the physical and mental health of a bunch of VFX artists, especially if the November release date is staying the same. That's what I really want to find out, because while I admire humanity's ability to rally behind a cause, even if it is Sonic's eyes
And teeth.
and teeth
It
and
unified
hands.
the country, I
feet,
think, in
like,
a way that
the
nothing
world
has
even.
in years.
I appreciate that we can do that. It's basically World War II and this are the only two times humanity, for the most
When
part,
America and
have
Japan came together.
Yeah. Yeah. That being said, this is going to kill people to get it done, and I think that a lot of the people that demanded it don't understand anything about this process or how it works. There is a YouTube channel, Flipped Normals, that actually fan and friend of the show, Stephen Blomkamp, sent me a link
Oh,
to.
cool.
They are actual VFX animators. One of them has actually worked at the company that made both Sonic and Detective Pikachu. It's the same company apparently, which is funny that people were citing. If you never blame the animators, number one.
Yeah,
Always
sure.
blame the
designers.
not even the designers, because the designers probably gave them a bunch of really good options, and then some person, executive or whatever, picked that one. But basically,
Is it the trick where you make one so bad that like
Yeah.
they can't possibly pick
Yes.
it?
And they picked it.
And people are like, oh fuck.
But they posted an extensive video discussing why the design was bad in the first place, but more importantly, how insurmountable the challenge is that it's going to be to fix it. They go into all things like rigging,
yeah.
lighting.
Yep.
They have to. All the fur. All
Eye
of that has to
lines
be
and stuff.
all
yeah.
of the animation that's been done so far has to be completely thrown out. They said maybe the only thing they can save is what they've done as reference material
Sure.
for reanimating the whole thing.
But there's an important lesson there though, right? Do it right the first time,
Nice.
and you won't.
Yeah.
I'm just
Must be
kidding.
so disheartening if you were someone that slaved away for months on this.
Well,
It sets a
Maybe they get
really
overtime, I hope.
dangerous
Well,
precedent that
that's
internet
what-
mobs.
Yeah, that's what worried me about this.
Yeah.
It was like I don't like the fact that everybody could call out me, we'll change Sonic, and they're like, we'll change Sonic. Because what about the next time when they come out and they're like, not as good.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Well, and I don't think the problems with the design. I think there are fundamental flaws with this movie's story and structure, et cetera. That's
Yeah.
not anything to do.
So
like,
now we're gonna get a version of this movie
God don't like ugly.
where Sonic looks fine, but it's still terrible.
Yeah.
Which is, I think,
Of course.
a weird thing that everyone seemed to be ignoring when they were pissed off.
I think
I was gonna go see it anyway, and I was relishing in how bad it
Yeah,
looked.
I kind of wanted it to look that way just so I had the full terrible experience.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be maybe kind of.
It might be sadder, like because
Maybe.
you're like, oh, that's a true Sonic. That's like, oh, that is the character that I remember. Why
Right,
is he
but
being abused like this?
It's a weird. It reminds me a lot of the first, I guess, the only Mario Brothers movie, where it was made by people who had a somewhat of an understanding of the character. Not that I think there's a deep lore of Sonic. There's obviously more story material. There's comic books and shows and all the stuff that you can pull from to go. Okay, it's about.
Yes, they did a great job.
They did great.
On
Yeah.
Pikachu, they did
I
a
mean,
great
it's
job.
it's a little frightening still, the Pikachu stuff. But
Mr.
so
Mime is
cute.
terrifying. Some of the Pokemon, which are already scary in Pokemon world, translated to being infinitely more frightening. But I think, for the most part, they did a great job.
so
yeah.
cute.
But either way, I'm just saying when they made Mario, obviously it was what 20 years ago or something, and they went.
Bob Hoskins was still alive.
Yeah, and they're like, "How the fuck do we make this into it?" And as a kid who played Mario, went, "Well, that's not what I was expecting." But their names were Mario and Luigi, and they had a Yoshi in there, so I'm okay. But the Sonic movies, like you've had years of original ideas to pull from. You have Sonic Boom, all these other.
Guys, Sonic has
lore.
always been trash.
No,
Lush
I know.
lore.
No, I know.
Sonic has always been trash.
But I'm just saying,
I'm
Disagree.
confused.
But there are
I
people.
disagree.
I know that, but it's always been bad.
But there are people who love Sonic despite it being trash. And so it's like, well, just dig into the stuff that those people like, which is like the furry culture and Knuckles, and don't have a story where he ends up in buttfuck nowhere. Sorry, Green Hill land.
Green Hill Zone.
It's not
Thank you,
Zone.
Bruce.
He doesn't live in Green Hill Zone. He lives in Green Hills.
Oh, you mean because of the billboard?
Whatever.
In the
I
movie?
think it's
Yeah.
really tough to make Sonic an underdog character.
Because he's got everything.
He does have
does.
everything. He's cool.
He does.
He's hip. He's muscular and he's really fast.
Yeah.
And he has
that's
a
why-
friend with two tails.
That's why Sonic 3 starts with him already having the Chaos Emeralds. Flying up onto the beach.
That's right.
Boom, he's hit by Knuckles, loses the emeralds. Now he has to start over from the beginning with nothing.
He runs
That's
from the
character.
left to the right.
That's story.
That's what he does. Sometimes he rolls and he goes in a circle.
And up and,
then-
down, too.
And then
People forget the verticality of Sonic.
Sure,
games.
he'll jump inside a giant ring and then he runs around and he gets all the blue
Sonic
orbs.
has always been bad, everyone. You knew the movie was going to be bad. Just let it be bad.
I don't begrudge anyone for enjoying Sonic. There's clearly a fan base behind it. They do all sorts of weird fan art and a bunch of other stuff, but it's like make something for them.
Should have just taken the plot of Speed Racer and made it into Sonic.
Drag and drop.
Sonic R, the racing game, Sonic
Never
R.
mind.
What is the plot of Sonic? The original Sonic, James?
Dr. Robotnik is a mad scientist who experiments on animals, and he's basically been kidnapping animals to put them into his machines, like mechanizing them.
None of this is
in a
ever
lot of ways.
stated anywhere.
It might be in the instruction manual
Sure.
or
I feel
something.
like James would know though.
Thank you, Bruce.
Now, what's the plot of Sonic Spinball?
No. I just want to know the original Sonic.
Okay.
Sonic Spinball.
So he's
Take-
mechanizing animals.
Yeah, he's mechanizing animals, and so this one very capable animal decides to stand up against him.
Hedgehog?
Happens to be Sonic
So
the Hedgehog.
he doesn't get the powers from Dr. Robotnik.
No.
That's never
He just
made.
already can talk. And
He's just a really fast. Yeah, he's just
really
like the
fast.
best of them. He's like the Neo
Blue streak.
of the Matrix.
Okay.
I just want to live in the alternate universe where that's the design that was in the trailer and people still shit all over it and we're pissed off.
Because I think you're right about that.
That's-
I think
Yeah.
that people would shit on it regardess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's.
The thing is,
You disagree?
we've established
was
that
good?
human beings have taste because they prefer the right to the left, but they don't know why they have taste, and so they still think that the right is better than the left when it's the same movie.
I would objectively though, it looks better.
It does.
Sure, It looks better yeah.
But
as
it's
a
not going to
Sonic-
save anything
Sure.
when he's in James Marsden's backpack for 45 minutes.
Yeah, it won't matter. It won't matter.
Jim Carrey, I think, actually seems really fun as Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, he's going
Yeah.
back to his roots.
Going back to the mask.
I like Ben Schwartz. I think voicing it, he does a fun job.
I'll hit you on that. I have a
Oh,
question
you
about
don't,
that though.
you don't think so?
Well, okay, if you go back one, Omar.
Like
Sorry.
the one on the right doesn't play at all, though.
No, that's-
I will disagree on that one.
Way too scary.
So
Do you think that's not a Ben Schwartz voice?
So Ben Schwartz doing the voice of Heroes. Hey guys, it's me, Sonic. And now that he's got attitude, does he have to revoice, or is he gonna be like, "Hey guys, it's me, Sonic"? And
I mean, it
he's
was
got
Steve Urkel. I think
they
Ben
might have to
Schwartz
get
can
Nick
do better
Kroll
than
for new
Steve Urkel.
Sonic.
No, but I'm just saying if they're just reusing the
hey
same
guys.
audio. I don't know.
Well,
he looks like Joel.
I don't want to spend
does.
too much time talking about Sonic. That's a lie. But I'll leave you guys with a parting question. Do you feel two-part question? One, are you going to go see this movie now that Sonic looks better and his eyes are one? And two, do you think that maybe us putting all those animators in such a horrific position was worth it to get a different looking Sonic? Adam, you go first.
Oh, I was going to see it regardless, and at the very least, I hope they get paid some overtime.
Yeah.
And when they win their Academy Award, while their studio's going out of business, they go, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say that this is also not even touching the surface of what is going on in the visual effects industry,
The whole rhythm and
in
hues
this
thing
country
is
in general, which is
heartbreaking.
that you bid for these projects, and the bidding is
already
it's a
underbidding.
low bidding, and you're basically competing with someone in China who doesn't have to worry about anything and just bids $1, and so you bid 99 cents, and then that's not enough money to even pay the people that work on the project to its completion.
Yeah.
And then you win an Academy Award like Rhythm Hughes while you're laying off employees.
Yeah.
Maybe there was one designer, or pardon me, I guess animator, that was really upset about how he looked, and now he's happy. That
Oh,
they're
sure.
redoing
I mean,
it.
He's single though, so you don't got
With
nothing to do
most
for the next 8 months.
collectives, yeah, it's not a hive mind. They're not everyone going, crappy Sonic design is good. Like, I'm sure there's somebody in like, I'm getting paid to do this or whatever.
I
I'm
was
the
trying to
hair
find
guy.
the silver lining of these people being enslaved for the next 6
Oh.
months.
They can quit if they want to, but
I just really hope they get paid overtime.
I hope
that's
so, too.
that's really important to me.
I hope
that
they-
even if they're working up really, really hard and long hours, that they just get paid over.
I hope so
That's
too.
it.
Or their contracts get extended. I mean, that would
Something.
have to be the case. Like if they're
Okay.
working contract to contract on movies, they just get a new contract for
Let-
the
let
next
me-
6 months to redo it.
Let me paint a quick photo for you. There's a lone animator there whose wife is probably 7 months pregnant right now.
he was excited to be done.
He could be there seeing the birth of his child, but instead he's making art.
They
He's
already,
seeing the birth of his new child.
Exactly.
they already
And-
decorated the nursery with that.
That's another thing too. All the fucking merchandise that I'm sure that they were gonna do has to be redone.
oh no.
I mean,
All my Sonic shirts that I pre-ordered, they're gonna have that on
I
it.
have bad news for Jeff Fowler. I was never going to see this film.
Yes, you are.
Never-
Literally never.
Funhaus?
No, absolutely. I'm joking. I would never pay to see this movie.
I feel like we could trick you into seeing. it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: if we go see it for Filmhouse, then I'll expense it because I ain't paying for it.
Okay.
And then if it happens to be on Netflix, I'll watch it maybe. And if I'm on a plane, probably. That and then
That
even,
sounds like a lot of scenarios where you will be watching Sonic the
that's like
Hedgehog.
why I finally watched Aquaman on a plane.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I am a captive
I haven't talked
audience.
to you about it yet.
Captive
I'm a
audience.
captive audience for 5.5
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
So
we
yes,
have
I
to
got
hold
2.5 hours.
We have to
kill.
hold him down. Is how we get him to
The
see
first
it and give him
45
money.
minutes is
Yeah.
worthless, but
It's garbage.
that
That's a different thing. At least you get to see the movie. You guys can have your
we're gonna
Aquaman
see. We're gonna do a
discussion
film house on it, and I will expense the ticket.
later. And you think it's
So you're
worth-
not going to pay for it either.
You think it's
you all
worth
sound
the
so
time of all the-
privileged.
Adam and I are the only two people who are going to see it voluntarily with,
With
our
own money.
our own money that
Good
we're
for
going
you
to work
guys.
with our hands.
Omar's
making
gonna
new
go.
Sonics.
Omar's going to come and go, do you guys want to expense those tickets? We go, no, sir.
I'm going to spit at him.
No.
I'm probably going to
No,
spit
no,
at
no.
him.
The proceeds of those ticket purchases will go to the Sonic Animator
Well,
Fund.
we hope so.
Not all movies are a perfect fit, and not all clothes are the perfect fit for all men. With Stitch Fix, your personal stylist will send you clothing that makes you look your best. Less one size fits all, more this fits your style. Stitch Fix is a sponsor of this episode. Thank you for your sponsorship. Stitch Fix is also an online personal styling service that delivers your favorite clothing brands right to your door. To get started, go to stitchfix.com/dudesoup, answer some questions about your preferred style, and your personal shopper will ship you a box of clothes, shoes, and accessories. Honestly, this is a fun thing to do if you find that you're wearing the same pair of jeans or you only have a certain number of t-shirts that you cycle through and you just want someone else to objectively influence your style. I think it's a pretty cool thing to do to reboot yourself every once in a while. You don't have to change, and if it doesn't fit, that's the best part. There's no commitment required, and you only pay for what you keep. Shipping, exchanges, and returns are always free. Plus, the $20 styling fee is automatically applied towards anything you keep from your box. You never have to think about looking good again with Stitch Fix. That's the best part. I think it's it costs $20 if you don't keep anything in the box, to just basically have someone go shopping for you. And I think that's the coolest part of this process. But if you keep something that's $20, so if you get a $25 piece of underwear and some socks, that's what you like, then that's all you pay. So it's a pretty great deal. To get started today at stitchfix.com/dudesoup and get an extra 25% off when you keep everything in your box. That's stitchfix.com/dudesoup. Stitchfix.com/dudesoup. It's like a tongue twister. That leaves your tongue feeling more stylish than ever before. It's like a tongue with a little tie on it. So yeah, I would love to continue talking about Sonic all day, but I know we can't.
Why?
Because other things are happening in the world. Gamers aren't the only side of this industry that have a right to be upset, because game devs are getting screwed pretty hard too. On May 6th, over 150 Los Angeles-based Riot Games employees walked out in protest of the company's policy on forced arbitrations. I guess a little background on that. Forced arbitrations are when you want to sue for something, but instead of going to an actual public court, it's like
Riot wants to settle it in private.
a bunch of
mediation.
private lawyers get together and discuss it behind closed doors.
Why
and
would you do that, James?
That's a great question.
Well, contractually, it's in the employees of Riot.
Yeah,
their work agreements that they will only have forced arbitrations if they choose to sue the company.
Well, I think because it doesn't set a precedent, right? Like,
Lawrence had a theory. We did a
Yeah.
Inside Gaming on it today, but he was saying that when it goes into public record, you can now see all the horrific things
Yes.
that are being said, whereas in
Yeah.
private arbitration, none of those things would come to light.
Yes.
So that's why. So it's like
Also,
absolutely.
it's again
Shows
legal
on the doll where he
precedents and
touched
stuff.
you.
Yes.
Once you show that something has happened legally and
Yes.
there's the limits of the law, then it becomes
Yeah.
the standard. But if you do it privately, then it's just basically two lawyers
Riot's-
negotiating with
If
each
they're
other.
sued by one person and it's public and then they're sued again later, that means that second lawsuit can point to the previous lawsuit
Set
as
precedent.
precedents
Yeah.
in their case, and they clearly don't want that. I think this is not uncommon for companies to
actually
make their
not.
employees
It's-
do this, but
Yeah.
I don't think that makes it right.
no, it's just there's a giant light is being shown on it, and I think people are paying more attention, which is I think obviously a good thing.
A lot of this, I guess the timeline of this is that there was an expose, Kotaku, I believe,
Kotaku.
done about the working conditions of Riot Games and I guess
a year
the
ago,
rampant sexism
Yep.
and employee abuse and all kinds of terrible things that were happening to employees there. It ended up resulting in some former past and present employees wanting to file a lawsuit against their employer for the conditions in which they were working. And then Riot said, okay, but we're going to do a private forced arbitration
because that's the contract you signed.
because that's the contract you signed.
Yeah.
And so the reaction to that is that a bunch of Riot Games employees, weirdly with the permission from their management, because that's the world we live in, where it's like, you play your games. You may go Riot from 4:30 to 5:15.
Yeah.
Back at your desks by 5:60.
Yeah, go to the protest zone.
But they did organize a riot. And
It was a quiet riot.
It was a quiet riot, yeah. Where they basically got together and discussed what they wanted, which is to remove forced arbitrations completely from past, present, and future employees. And Riot actually, I think, reached out to Kotaku, and some of their management team said, oh, well, we're not going to do it anymore. We're just going to let the ones that are happening now
Yeah.
kind of finish
Play out.
out, which is
new employees don't are subjected
Yeah.
to
don't
that
worry, we'll change it in the
contract.
future. But this stuff, we're going to keep. We just need to finish what we're working on now, and people are still very upset about that because obviously that's not what they want.
Yeah.
And this kind of leads into a whole series of labor practices in game studios, which have been a popular discussion as of late. Yesterday, based on the time of recording, and Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
On Inside Gaming, you guys also covered the state of development at NetherRealm, which is yet another expose came out, I believe a Variety expose about the working conditions there. It's pretty similar, mirror some of the things that we heard about Riot.
There was a lot. It was a
year
lot
ago.
of crunch related stuff. So meaning like a lot of crazy overtime, 7 days a week work. There was sexism involved.
Yeah.
Just I think the emphasis for Mortal Kombat was more of crunch. But either way, they're both bad.
Yeah. Abusive situations, a lot of contractors being lured to work more with the promise of being hired on as full time.
Yeah.
Whether or not that comes to fruition.
Which is something Lawrence talked about, and I think is something we can all, I guess, talk personally about, because I think everyone here has worked a contract job where they do dangle that carrot. It's happening to someone I know very personally right now. They're doing that where company has had this person in particular for 2 years on a contract, which I think is illegal.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Well,
I
if it's
did
a
it
different
for
contract.
Yeah, they call it permalance.
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did.
for Viacom, right?
Yeah,
No.
I was permalance.
It's interesting because you're not supposed to. I think it's like 18 months is how long that should be. But they get around it. Every large company that I've seen somehow gets around
Fire
it.
you and rehire you.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always
that's-
wondered. I don't know how they do it, but they get around it.
Yeah.
There were so many people at G4, I remember, who'd get caught in a layoff and then rehired.
Yep.
And so I was like, why did they? Oh. And then also, the way G4 had it, I think we've talked about this before, but G4 is owned by Comcast, but then they had a separate group called FOG, which was like, oh, well, that's the contract group you're part of. Or they'll reach out to a contract group that will then hire you to work at this company so that you don't get any benefits. And it's like, it's a great system, especially when we don't really have healthcare in this country. There's a whole different debate, but it's like, you kind of have to get it from your employer or get it in some other way. So when you get contracted, you don't get any of those beautiful things. So don't break your fucking arm while you're working here, because
That's the big difference between, just in this country at least, between a contractor and a full-time employee, is that you are not eligible to a lot of the benefits and rights that a full-time employee would have, namely health insurance, 401k, retirement plans,
Paid time off.
Paid time
sometimes.
off. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a different sick days. If you're not there, you just don't get paid. And that stuff costs a lot of money per employee. That adds up.
Yeah.
And so, at least in California and in this country, in this industry especially, I know that all four of us here have, not coincidentally, been subject to that. I've been in situations where I was hired on as a full-time employee, and generally there's a probation period of like 6 months to anywhere up to a year, where they can say, well, you're a full-time employee, but we're going to wait until you actually are here for 6 months before we're going to give you those benefits. And I was at a little place called Machinima, right before those benefits kicked in, they laid me off.
oh, nice.
And then I
Good
got
job.
brought back as a contractor.
Oh, how
And
convenient.
then right as they were about to get in trouble for that overstepping, because there were a lot of contractors there, they hired us out to a different company
I remember that. Yeah.
that we just worked at Machinima, and then that just basically started a new loop that we were stuck in, and it wasn't until like we as a group kind of did some negotiating that a lot of us got pulled on
It's the American dream, man.
for full time.
It's always you always have to threaten to leave the company.
Yeah.
Before they're like, okay, all right.
the
all
games
right.
you have to play.
But I think also to this, because like it seems like I'm only really familiar with the gaming industry and the entertainment industry. Those are the industries in which I feel like I've spent the most time working. And I think it has something to do with the idea that if you don't want to do it, someone else will.
5 people will dive to have that job.
I've had that vocalized to
Yep.
me in meetings.
Yeah.
Where they've said it out loud to like a group of us.
Yeah.
They've been like, if you guys don't want to be here, then you know what? We've got 5 other people waiting in line, and they're going to take your jobs.
Yeah.
And to me, like when I was younger, it threatened me. But the older that I get, the more I'm like, I guess if they want to pay someone less with less experience, I can find a job somewhere else. That's
Yeah.
the way I.
and they go, don't go.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wait,
They go,
Or
wait,
they
wait.
do, or they do say go ahead, and then everything suffers.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we've walked away from situations where we were
Yeah.
like, listen, you can replace us with something worse.
The inside gaming
But-
walk away was the best thing ever, because we said we're gonna leave, and then they told us, yeah, but we can replace you because we still have the name, idiot. And we're like,
Okay.
Yeah.
we're like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And then we left, and then everyone got mad at the guy who said it was okay for us to leave because they still had sold content that they were on the hook for. So they're like, oh fuck. So they had to scramble, get people to do a podcast that was already pre-sold. They did it, and then immediately got all the dislikes, and they went, "What's going on? It's the same name. Why you don't? I don't understand." And I was like, "Well, that was a good. That's a nice lesson that was it was cemented in history, but now it's off YouTube. Damn it."
Yeah, they removed every evidence of it.
Yeah,
They win.
No.
it's up here though. I'm like Bran. I'll be the history.
It is a weird situation because at least these two game places that we've referenced appear to be very, very successful
Riot
at
and
what they're
NetherRealm?
doing.
Absolutely.
Riot
Yeah.
is basically an ATM
Yeah.
printing money for the last they've made one game that has made them so much money over I don't even know how a longer
10
lifespan
years.
than GTA. Like when did GTA 5 come? Like in terms of money making machines
No,
that
you're
you
right.
can make.
2009, 2010, I think, is when League of Legends came out.
So like
Yeah.
that's
Beta before that, but
massive.
Yeah.
Like that is
2,500 employees. They have. That's insane.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you don't take care of them.
Well, that's the.
Oh no, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's how much they've grown.
No, yeah.
Where it's like they have one game,
but
and they have
it's
2,500.
so weird because you should assume that these breakdowns should happen when a company is struggling to stay afloat or break even, not when they're flush with cash.
No, I mean,
Well, it's like maybe it's a snake eating its tail. Like, why are they flush with cash?
That's
It's
true.
because they're exploiting their
great point.
employees. They're cultivating a work culture where they want their employees to be there around the clock. So they're giving them this like great oasis that you can come and live in this office, but you're living in that office.
Yeah,
and it's just like
there's like the Wolf of Wall Street sort of thing. They were all thriving, but then it becomes a boys' club, and then just like shit gets unchecked, and that seems to be what's happening here. Is that like, and I've seen this happen. Like this was happening early Machinima days, where it's like people were like, "We're gonna live forever," and they just do crazy shit.
all our kids are going to college.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they're like, when this place sells, I'm gonna be so rich. What do you mean I'm fired? They're like, or what do you mean? What's a stock split?
Yeah.
What does that mean? But that's
Well, the point here's the point I made in the Inside Gaming, but I'll say it again because it's really important. Is generally companies are going to take advantage of you. Generally speaking, almost every company is going to take advantage of you in some way or another, small ways, big ways, whatever, and they're going to do it for as long as they can until this kind of stuff happens. Until someone like they organize and people walk out, and then everybody goes, all right, like Tencent, who's probably I think a majority stakeholder in Riot, or at least they're a stakeholder. Now they're paying attention. Now they're like, okay, well, we got to fix this.
or
But the company got away with it for so long, and they made a ton of money doing it.
Yeah.
and that's what's always bugged me is that they didn't try to correct it along the way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think maybe not the entertainment industry so much. Well, maybe the new media side of it, if we want to make that its own subsection. But I think the entertainment and the gaming industry are fledgling enough that the employees working there are naive enough to think that their employer is the one that's going to protect them. Because again, people did voluntarily sign this contract, but they probably didn't know what they were getting into when they did sign it.
Sure.
You know, there's an accountability issue, but that doesn't mean that you can't take action and then change things to protect yourself in the future or the people that come after you. And so, like, you know, a lot of this has brought up questions of unions. Do you need a third party to step in and say what is and isn't fair between you and your employer in some of these industries? Because while they've managed to grow and flourish, it hasn't been at the cost of nothing, you know? Yeah.
well, most companies will have some sort of human resources department, HR for short. But what a lot of people forget is that HR is there to protect the company,
Yes.
not you.
Always.
So another example, I won't say the place, pretty big place. A friend of mine works there, and he's this person. I said he, doesn't matter. Has issued many HR complaints about basically being abused by someone else, and the company is more than willing to just kind of push it under the rug and just be like, maybe we just move you away from this person. And it's like, but I still have to see them in the hallway, and they basically walk next to me to my car and threaten me. And they're like,
Yeah.
they're like,
And
yeah, but let's keep it quiet.
You're still condoning like by letting that person keep their job. You're saying that it's okay that they're
Yeah, and it's a pretty big corporation where this person works, and it's like that's so obvious there, where it's like they're the company trying to protect itself and not the person.
That's what it sounded like happened at Riot, actually. And a lot of people were upset about the forced arbitration because it didn't expose the person who was in leadership. So the person who was being sexist or abusing them sexually wasn't exposed. And so even in forced private arbitration, they don't get to say, it's this person. They should be losing their job, or they should be, you know, like somewhere else away from me. And Riot was just like,
No, yeah, you're seeing signs
whatever.
in the riots at Riot where someone has a sign that says I exposed my abuser and they got a promotion. And I think what's interesting to me about Riot is crunch, I think, happens across the industry to varying degrees. I think sexism happens, but it's so weird. Like, I don't know what happened. What the fuck went down at Riot that they have this degree of sexist culture or I guess an abundance but people are really that affected by it that they're vocalizing it and walking out because like
I think it's something that's led by example.
Yes.
And from what it sounds like, allegedly the CEO and the top brass has this sort of bro-ish attitude. That's sort of what's happening. When you do that, young, impressionable people come in and go, oh, that's okay. So when it's like a young kid seeing their dad talk shitty to a waitress, it's instilled in their mind that, oh, this is okay. I can do this when you shouldn't.
or it's bros hiring their bros.
That too. I've seen that happen.
Friends hiring friends.
So
It's like mine.
Yeah. So
I
when
don't
people
know.
are farting on each other and whipping their dicks out and doing all this weird stuff that I'm sure is probably on the scale of somewhat normal things that have been going at this boys and not girls club. I think people around there, impressionable people, tend to think that's okay and they're gonna go with the flow, and there's sort of a mob mentality there.
I was just gonna say I do think like it is a company that has made moves to like bring women into their workforce. Like
Recently they have, yeah.
Eye candy,
years
they call
ago,
it.
a friend of mine tried hiring me at Riot.
Thank you.
I know what you're thinking. Elise Willem was employable at Riot. It was for like a scheduling position. It
Full-time
wasn't a creative
Doesn't even know what saying your
position.
macros mean.
It was a purely non-creative position, which is why I was.
I assume
was
you were
not
gonna be some sort
interested.
of like jester.
They
or
wanted me
like-
for the mocap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like we have this character with
be a
a
gremlin.
spine that's all over the place.
They said crawl around in that corner, put these balls over your body.
You're gonna be our Doug Jones.
Yeah. But so it did seem like they like, and he even said like, well, we want to get more women in the company, and this would have been like 4 years ago, maybe.
Well, but some of that is compensatory, right? Like
it's optics. They just want to be like, we got
well,
women.
it's not optics, but if you understand that there's a certain culture and you want to change that culture, so you make it your prerogative to hire counter to that culture. It's like here, how we're totally fine and not sexist, so we just don't hire women.
It's easier that way. We've hired 2, possibly 3.
Prove it.
We let others in the building.
We're small enough though, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's hypocritical or whatever, but like we never looked at each other and went, we need more women here. It's like it sort of worked out that way, I guess. And we're like,
I mean, we also don't like bears, so like
So we don't hire any more bears.
no, I mean, so we don't hire more women, so the bears don't come to our office.
all I remember.
Staring at Elise.
You guys make me take that birth control or I don't get a period for a year.
Yeah,
That's because of the bears, Elise.
we don't want to be around that.
God damn it.
So go through our trash.
I'm gonna go to Riot for better work conditions.
See, here's the thing. If Elise was anyone else, this would be sexual harassment.
That's true. Wait, hold on. Friday,
I
if you're
signed a
watching.
contract, forced arbitration.
It's okay.
and,
Elise, just so you know, for the record, Elisa said way worse things to us than we've ever said to her.
You
It's
say
just-
that a lot, bro.
It's always behind closed
Adam
doors.
always says that.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's true.
Or she'll say it from her car while driving by.
Well, okay, we got a lot to get through. So, I mean, we don't really have like a final takeaway on this other than if you are someone in an industry, like just, I think the general motif of like, understand that you have to take care of yourself and maybe take care of the person next to you with the hopes that they'll take care of you too, because those are the strongest bonds that you're going to find in especially industries like this, but kind of almost every single
Facet of
corporate
life.
thing.
Yeah.
Corporations are great for a lot of reasons. Endgame. And Simpsons on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But other than that, like they're also there to maximize, to squeeze the sponges as hard as possible.
Are you worried about being blacklisted because of all your communist ideas and thoughts that you're clearly leaning towards?
You mean socialist?
Nah, he's more of a commie.
He's a commie?
I think I'm more of a
so.
socialist.
But I still think like there's a right masculinity that's not toxic. Like if men want to embrace their masculine sides, you know.
If men want to embrace, you mean like hug and kiss?
Well,
Well,
do
what
that all
she's
the
talking
time.
about is
Or get
wellness,
boners.
Bruce. She's talking about wellness. Yeah.
Oh, we
A full
kiss-
head of hair
Oh.
and a large erect penis. Thank you, Elise.
no problem.
I'm on it this week. Last week I wasn't. We live in a wellness age. This ain't the 50s anymore, no matter how much Lawrence wishes it were. And wellness means feeling comfortable in how you feel and how you look. Enter Hims, a wellness brand specifically for men. You've heard us talking about Hims in the past and how they are helping guys look their best. If you haven't yet, it's time to see what they're all about. 66% of men start to lose their hair by age 35. Once you've noticed thinning hair, it can be too late. The best way to prevent more hair loss is to do something about it while you still have some left. We ain't fixing monks. See those monks with the thing? Can't do nothing about that.
Nope. That's how they were born.
But if you notice, if you're seeing some early signs of that, then you can actually take action. And that action doesn't have to be weird solutions that you find at a gas station or next to the condom dispenser in a rest stop. There's actual medicine and actual science that can help you feel more like you. Forhims.com is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men. Hims is helping guys be the best version of themselves with licensed physicians and FDA-approved products to help treat hair loss. But we also recommend you check with your own doctor before starting any of these plans. These do change the way your body works, and you want to make sure your body is still going to work as well as possible if you decide to use one of these plans. That being said, if you prefer to go through your own primary care provider, that's fantastic, and you can bring your prescription to Hims to have your medication shipped directly to your door at a fraction of the cost and time you'll get at a brick and mortar pharmacy. So order now, because Dude Soup viewers can get started with their Hims Complete Hair Kit for just $5 today. I believe the Complete Hair Kit comes with biotin gummies, a topical solution, and finasteride, which is the ingestible pill. So it's everything that's supposed to get your hair growing and looking fine. You can get yours for just $5 today right now while supplies last, and subject to doctor's approval, of course. See website for full details and safety information. This could cost hundreds if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy somewhere else. Go to forhims.com/dude, D-U-D-E. That's forhims.com/dude, forhims.com/dude. Thank you for your sponsorship. How much time do we have? I feel
As
like
much as you want.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Got like 5-10 minutes.
You
5-10 minutes?
You make the podcast a little bit longer, the post show a little bit shorter.
Well, we have
You
one.
know?
You guys want to talk about Marvel amusement parks?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Let's talk about it real quick, and then I have a
Yes.
game that I want to play with everyone.
Great.
Real quick, do you know when Nintendo Land is opening up in Japan?
It's 2020, but I don't know when.
Oh, for Olympics? Also, Akira
Akira.
predicted the 2020 Olympics in Japan.
Movie
Watch it.
details. Wow.
I mean, I do want to go to that Nintendo Land.
Why are you staring at me?
Because it takes place in 2019, and they're building the stadium, and it's on top of Akira. I say Akira. I'm sorry. I say Canada. I'm sorry. Gaijin.
Canada.
It sounds like Canada the whole time, right? Anyway, timely. Let's talk about Marvel.
I wish there was a perfect. There should be a perfect version where the guy who voices Leonardo is still Canada, and
What is the Black Ranger? New Black Ranger. New old Black Ranger.
well, they did.
God.
They
When they were like, we don't
redid
have
it.
enough time.
They
Let's
redid
talk
it.
about
Yeah.
Akira.
New
and-
Ranger, new Black Ranger, new
I
Black
know who he's
Old
talking
Ranger.
about.
Not the
I'm
one-
sure
not
you
the
do.
one missing
guy,
his finger.
The guy who voices Trigon, Vash Stampede.
Oh, is it the same? Okay.
Yeah. But I wish because I like the original Canada voice.
Oh.
But then I also appreciated that they did the pronunciation right in the one when they revoiced it and remastered it.
Instead of saying
There's a
Canada.
perfect version out there for me if someone wants to do that. Where they combine it all. Anyway, speaking of cool things in 2020, Marvel Amusement Park is coming. This isn't new news. We've known for a while. This is actually from a very long time ago. This is premiere video. But Disneyland Parks is cashing in on Marvel yet again in new immersive forms, and they're adding them to their theme parks. They're making it a major part of their Hong Kong, Paris, and Anaheim parks. That's us.
Yeah.
That's us again. We get Star Wars Land and Marvel Land.
That's right.
And we got the Guardians ride before anyone else.
That's right. But the adventure's only beginning. According to 23 News Bakersfield, big old question mark over that. They get the hot exclusives.
Cool.
Disneyland Parks at California Adventures is set to receive a Marvel upgrade in 2020. This process started back in May of 2017 with the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout,
Great ride, by the way.
which is a great ride. I know a lot of people are upset that it killed Twilight Zone.
Who cares? It's the same thing.
But Mission Breakout is really good. I
same
enjoy it
thing.
a lot. I wish it was maybe 50% longer, but it's super cool and the building's super cool. And if you ever ride it on Halloween, it's even better.
If you go to Disney in Tokyo, they don't even have Twilight Zone. It's like based on like a jade monkey or something.
Wow.
Well, it's great because there's no translation, so it's just all in Japanese, and they're like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, kanji, and then all of a sudden this mask lights up, and everyone goes, ah, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck
That's
happened.
awesome.
But not everything comes without a cost, correct, James?
Is
Plan
that a
this?
ad read?
That's a good.
Bug's Life.
Good.
Oh, well, I
segue.
was going to do my own segue.
Oh no, we're
Okay,
losing out.
fine.
We're losing
Well,
out.
I was saying, do
A
you,
Bug's Land?
I was going to ask you
Well,
guys.
Spacey ruined that.
Because we're losing a Bug's Life to get Marvel Land.
So what?
Settle
Who
down. Bruce.
cares?
Settle down. Okay.
Can I
know
say
you're
who
upset.
cares more to this?
I
Do
mean,
you
Bug's
think,
Life did
I was
come
saying,
out in
do you
1998.
think that they're doing this
No.
A, because Marvel is a multi-billion-dollar property that's going to make them
Got it. A.
multiple.
That's
multiple-
A.
Okay,
or
obvious
because
choice.
Kevin Spacey's in Bug's
That's
Life.
the one, yeah.
You think it's that?
He's still Ricketts or whatever his name is. Hopper. That's his name.
Hopper Ricketts. It's because he is a cricket, right?
He's
Isn't he
the
cricket?
jiggler, I think. Was what they called him on the
He's
set
the
of.
diddler.
I think he's,
Yeah.
they're the crickets at Yelping
So,
Ants.
just so you guys know, Hong Kong already got the jump on us yet again. Come on, Hong Kong.
Wait, it's already open?
Well, they're going to get a major upgrade, but they've already started getting bits and pieces, kind of like we got Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sure.
They got an Iron Man ride and an Ant-Man ride.
Whoa.
Neither of them look
Like,
great.
I
But
saw, yeah,
Oh.
I saw some of the Iron Man one. It's kind of like Star Tours.
it's like a Star Tours ride
Is
or
it-
the Transformers ride. It feels like a Universal.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know
this
the
is
size
fair.
of the park that they're dealing with here.
What you want for an Iron Man ride, and this is where I think the fun part comes in,
Okay, go
because I
ahead.
love speculating about amusement parks, themed amusement parks, like what Nintendo Land, the endless possibilities. But I think
Go-karts.
the Iron Man ride should be
Submarine ride.
like you're lying in a like thing. And
You're
it's-
in Tony.
Like a Pepper Potts
know.
type.
Right.
Wait, what? You're putting yourself
No.
in a suit?
Well, you're lying. You know, like when you're on a sky flyer type ride where you're
Oh,
like lying on
yeah.
your stomach.
So
and
you
you're-
want a physical roller coaster?
Yeah, you think you should be on a roller coaster.
You want to get
where
inside
you're-
something else that someone else was sweating in?
Yeah.
Okay.
every time.
With new technology that allows you to hover. Because that roller coasters just keep going, but imagine if there's a roller coaster that came to something that stopped.
Oh, yeah.
And made you feel like you were floating.
Tony Stark's
and
Wild
then you
Ride.
turned around and you
Your
go back the
hands
other way.
should be-
I
in
want
something.
a suit. Hear me out. I want a suit that I can get into that has rocket boots and blasters on the hands and something like a computer in my eyes
Okay.
that I can fly around like a jet. Can I have that?
Let's see. You have to wait 9 hours.
Well,
since it's an individual
They
experience.
could probably put you in a helmet and then put you in a thing that just moves around.
I
and
just want to
does-
be Iron Man.
Oh.
And being Iron Man is not like Star Tours.
It looks like the best you're going to get.
Oh,
So this is the Ant-Man
I want
ride.
to jerk off a gun.
This is the Ant-Man
basically
ride.
the Buzz Lightyear blaster.
I don't know what it has to. I watched some of it. I don't know what any of it has to do with Ant-Man because everything looks large.
And that's Doc Ock's.
But I mean, have faith because you saw the Tron ride, right? That Tron ride looks great.
That's Shanghai, right?
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's possibilities. But anyway, this is just the early phases of things, and we're going to kind of get there.
Okay.
Paris and Anaheim currently have scheduled a Spider-Man ride,
What are you doing a Spider-Man?
which is
They've had one of
supposedly
those.
leaked. And I guess I haven't been on it, but at the Pixar Pier, there's like a Toy Story ride.
This thing?
I don't know what you're doing.
It's the gun you jerk off.
The gun you jerk off.
Yeah, it's like you're in. I think we all did this. You
the
put on the
buzz-
three
it's where you-
goggles. You're spinning around. It's the shooting
doing this.
gallery.
It is a shooting gallery.
Yeah,
I
you do
haven't-
this.
I've never done it.
pull the thing.
But
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are saying that may be the framework.
Yeah.
Something like that may be the framework for the Spider-Man ride.
That's
but you're going to
perfect.
have a thwip gun. Like you're going to be
So you
shooting
jerk off
webbing.
Spider-Man.
So you'll be shooting webbing or something like that. There's
I
blueprints.
mean, you're already
that I don't
shooting
understand.
webbing on the Pixar Pier, but
Yeah.
well, because the part at the end when Buzz is like, "Faster, I'm almost finished," and you're like, "Okay."
So
Moms are really good at it.
other than Bruce's ride, where there's a fully fledged Iron Man suit and he's the only one that gets to wear it in the whole park.
Yeah,
It's gonna have
what
Hawkeye's
rides?
house.
Hawkeye's house.
Yeah. You can go spy on his
It's empty.
family.
It's completely
like he
every once in a while you
does.
hear him come in and then disappear real quick.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like tell me. Look, you tell me if I'm being too jaded.
Okay.
I feel like Marvel is just going to be like, oh, cool, Marvel. You're going to go and see an Iron Man suit. It's like, whoa, neat. And then it's going to be Star Tours again.
Yeah.
And like with
Yeah.
Star Wars Land, I'm like, oh, I'm really excited about Star Wars Land. And I show up and it's going to be Star Tours
'Cause
again.
when
I'd
I-
be like, fuck.
When I thought about Nintendo Land, I was like, oh, they could do a Luigi's Mansion that's like a haunted mansion sort of
a good
thing.
idea.
They could do a Mario Kart thing where you're in like the carts and it's like almost like a Cars ride. Like I just feel like there's a lot of potential with this. Maybe
What could you be?
Well, I think I'm thinking older because I'm older, obviously. And
Sure.
They did a really cool thing with Innovations a few years back when Disney first bought Marvel. Innovations is the big circle thing in Tomorrowland that's like,
Oh, yeah.
it's basically a sales vehicle for like Windows 7 or XP or whatever they had for years. Like, it's a weird thing where like, try out new technology, like a Segway. You're like, it's 2012. Why are we? And they're like, well, they bought it for 5 years, so they have to do it. So they turned it into like Stark's Innovations, and it's like you got to see all the suits of armor and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like I think doing like doing like
experiences.
they'll have
doing
an
cool-
Avengers Tower. or
yeah,
whatever.
stuff like going to like imagine the Stark Foundation did like a museum that was like dedicated to the Avengers. I think they even have something like that in Vegas where like try to pull Thor's hammer.
You know what I'd do? I'd get a leather jacket and a hat, and I'd just go stare at Bucky's exhibit. It's like all the time to see if any kids like notice me. I just, I mean, we were talking right before this started about how we kind of all want to go to Harry Potter again, despite the fact that is basically no rides. There's one ride that's okay, and then another ride that's a child's ride.
It's like Buckbeak's Escape and
Buckbeak's
then
Revenge.
Escape
it's
from
Flight of the
Snape.
Hippogriff, but I call it Buckbeak's Revenge. I think it's funnier that he's mad.
So, because I do think knowing California Adventures, they ain't a lot of space left over there. I mean, they can maybe knock down some small mom and pop businesses.
They need
just
to
carve out
do
those-
like a water world that's the gladiator arena from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh,
they
that's
do
a
like
great
a,
idea.
a show.
Thor and Hulk,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Just
a
watch
great
Hulk
idea.
kill people, but it's a 3D hologram. Mm-hmm. That'd be fun.
I mean, there's already the ride in Ragnarok where he's in it, and then the Grandmaster's
Yeah.
telling you all about
right.
the
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
if you entered the park in a Grandmaster thing, and the Grandmaster's like, oh, you are coming to
Jeff
me.
Goldblum's talking to
Yeah,
you.
a Thor ride would be great. The first part of it's kind of interesting. The second part is just a
It's
snore.
terrible, yeah.
And then it ends on a high
one's
note.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And then there's like candy stands at the end, so that way you can shovel your face full of candy.
You buy Infinity, the pops. Or
I think this is definitely going to be an immersion type park.
Yeah.
well, that's what they're doing with Galaxy's Edge. At least they're trying.
Because there's only 2 rides, right?
Yeah,
like
but
two
it's
rides,
if
but
you-
then you
Falcon
can.
and then one of the other ones.
Yeah, but they're doing the stuff where it's like all the Pepsi or Coke bottles or whatever, like these weird like alien shapes and stuff. But I mean, also there's gonna be just so many people. Like,
I'm not even. Did you get your tickets?
No, I didn't even know it opened.
Oh,
I was at that YouTube thing.
yeah, I mean,
And then it closed and I was like, sad.
I wish Jacob the best. I
Mm-hmm.
know he got his tickets and he's gonna go do it, but it's like I also appreciate all the hard work they put in making it immersive. But when you're just a sardine, you're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, the Millennium Falcon, and 18 people are trying to get selfies with it. It's probably, but that's our fault. as
Here's
a
the thing:
race.
we need to go to fucking Disneyland when that's going on, because then we go to the other parts of the park.
It'll be empty.
It probably won't be empty. Disneyland's anytime someone's like Disneyland will be empty.
It
That
never-
only means it's like 80% capacity.
Yeah.
But that's still way better.
There's never a line for Lincoln. Tell you that.
Yeah, you're right.
Gives that speech. I just wish they'd update it to make it sound like how he really did. Because like they use that actor's voice where it's very like,
Low.
hello,
yeah.
I am Lincoln. But in fact, he was like, hey, y'all.
Well, that's Daniel Day-Lewis's interpretation of Lincoln.
Did he do the hick? I never saw the movie.
I think he does like a higher pitch, like Lincoln.
It's a higher pitch voice. He's not a hick, but it's a higher pitch voice.
Yeah.
It should be more hickish.
Should it be
Like-
hickish? Wasn't he from Indiana?
No, Illinois.
Illinois, that's it.
Whatever. Abraham Lincoln was said to have a pretty high pitched voice. Like
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah.
he kind of sounded like a little bit like a woman.
He was the original Doug Jones. He just happened to be
Talking
president.
about Judd,
Weird.
Because he's a tall, lanky weirdo.
That's where you go. That's the only place.
He hunted vampires.
Are you talking about Lincoln or Doug Jones?
What's the difference?
I read Lincoln in the Bardo a few months ago, and now all I can think about is his like son that died and how he kept digging him up. like,
Lincoln, his
he
son
had
died.
a
and kept
son
digging him
that
up?
died, and then they like put him in a mausoleum, and then Lincoln would keep going and being like, "Take him out, I want to see him."
What? Really?
Holding him and stuff. And it's like Lincoln,
Calm down.
the
He's
stage
dead.
5 clinger. Okay, he's gone. But that's now all I think about when I think about Abraham Lincoln. That's him digging up that boy. Dig up my boy.
Not freeing the slaves.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
job,
son.
Good job, number 16.
But what if they had a Nick Fury instead of like the Hall of Presidents? It's just Nick Fury,
No.
and he's.
Oh yeah.
I want you for the Avengers.
I
Hail
am a
Hydra.
I am a spy. It's a cup. It's a prop.
Okay, well, I'm glad everyone's super excited about that.
Sure.
We could
man.
play this on the post show.
I need
No.
more things to escape
Relegated
from.
to the post show? Are you kidding me?
Okay,
Absolutely
never
not. We have a little bit more time. Omar, you stay in your seat.
Is he shuffling?
No, he was fine.
He's got ants in his pants.
I want to play a little game. You can't look. At least you can't
You're
look.
cheating.
I want to play a little game. She already kind of cheated.
I didn't cheat.
Elise.
She cheated.
I'll explain to you what he means by
So
cheated.
yesterday, a Twitter account, Alan_cheapshot, posted a thread on Twitter with a bunch of stories about Vince McMahon, true stories about Vince McMahon and the kind of psychopath that he is. Some are endearing,
Yeah.
others are just strange oddities.
Sure.
And because now the lines have blurred so much that there is no use even going to movie details because it's all trash, I've decided to start a new game to wrap out my Dude Soup podcasts, hosting gigs, which is guess the story. I'm going to read a Vince McMahon story and you tell me if it's made up or true.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, what he means by cheated is I had found this thread of my own
so
volition
you already know
yesterday,
it's
so I already
true.
know what's in the thread.
Yeah. But they've been adding more stuff. It's been ongoing.
No
so
cheating,
I
Elise.
went through the whole thing.
When did they add more things?
Just ongoing.
No
When?
It's been ongoing.
No
I was
cheating.
pulling stuff
When?
this afternoon.
She wants you to prove it.
So just so you know,
Prove it, show me.
you're not safe. You're not safe.
Okay, we'll see.
So she'll have a little bit of an advantage. You'll just have to answer last. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to answer it all, but.
No, you need to answer.
And if you're not familiar with Vince McMahon, he's the head of the WWE.
And
He's like
talking
he's
to
like the
them.
original Nick Fury.
He's known to be crazy.
He's kind of yeah.
Maybe the steroids
What?
or the money. What do you think made him go crazy?
I think he's just made that way, honestly. Okay. Story number 1. We'll just say if you think it is true or false. Vince once raced a former WWE writer on an open highway. Vince boxed him in so that way he, the writer, was heading straight for road construction. The writer had to slam on the brakes to avoid an accident. Vince sped off, having won the race by almost killing a guy.
Okay.
So, Adam?
That sounds true.
That sounds true to me.
It's true.
It is true. Oh,
yes.
It's true.
She knew already.
I had read that one. That was a pretty crazy story.
Here's
sounds true to me.
Here's a quick one. Vince hates nodding
Like nodding,
in
yes.
agreement.
Okay.
I thought he just had a thick neck, like he can't do it. I don't think I've ever seen him nod. Okay, I think that's true.
I'm going to say true as well.
It's true.
It is true.
Okay.
It
There's
seems like
more to the story in that a new writer was hired by Stephanie McMahon, and in the meeting, he was trying to show that he was paying attention to the things that Vince McMahon was saying. So
Like
he
I'm
was
nodding,
nodding
yeah.
along with him until Stephanie pulled him quietly out of the office and said, "You got to stop doing that because Vince hates nodding."
She said he hates yes men, except he surrounds himself with yes men.
Yeah, the extension meeting, yeah, that he hates yes men. And then ultimately the guy was like, "Oh, okay." And then he was fired like 2 weeks later.
oh no.
All right. Vince once hosted a WWE event at the Central Florida Zoo and Botanical Gardens. Wrestlers and executives were given a backstage tour of the zoo's facility, but the event ended abruptly when Vince was observed antagonizing a Western lowland gorilla.
I mean, it could have been a mirror.
It's true.
I'm going to say false. I'm going to say false.
I'm going to go with false on that one.
It's false, or it's one of these supposed new ones that you added.
Or maybe it was like a silverback or something like that. Maybe
I guess
it
I'll
was-
say it's true. 'Cause
It's false.
I mean, it
That's a great
definitely-
story, though.
It definitely wasn't in the thread, but it
I do
sounds like
like the-
something he would do.
I do like the idea that there was maybe like a funhouse mirror and it went, hey, you gorilla.
That's a Vince McMahon story that I made up that may be true, but was not in the thread.
He doesn't seem like someone who'd antagonize something he knows that could kill him.
Ooh, no, that's completely untrue.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
No.
Really?
Well, here we
Yeah.
go. All right, let's continue. Vince invited Mark Henry to a workout session. Now, Mark Henry is
Strong
this
man.
he's considered the strongest man in the world, and it isn't wrestling fluff. He's won Olympic powerlifting and strongman competitions. He's one of the strongest human beings on the planet. Okay. Vince tried to out-rep him on every exercise. Henry went along with it because he's competitive and even admitted that Vince tested him a little bit. Mark says that he actually quit before Vince did. Vince then phoned Mark in great pain and admitted that he had made a terrible mistake.
That sounds true.
It sounds false because I can't think of Vince McMahon admitting defeat.
Sounds true to me.
It's true. And I can imagine exactly how you go, oh, Mark, I made a big mistake.
Yep.
It actually does sound like something that's true.
It is true, yes.
It sounds like Vince McMahon would be the type of man at some point in his life. As the older he gets, the more he's probably like, I should admit that I'm wrong.
He cried during that Andre the Giant documentary, but I think he was thinking about how happy he was of all the money he made when he made that poor man
He seems
who
so
was
passionate.
dying.
He is passionate.
He seems so passionate.
He's definitely passionate. That's a word.
There's other people who are pretty passionate. Is there a baby in here?
I hear talking.
There's whispers.
All right,
in the
here we go.
halls.
We got a couple. We only got 3 more. All right.
Oh my.
During a WWE party, Vince stood in front of a crowd of people and shouted that he loves snow cones after having already eaten 10.
I don't know why that would be false. True.
I'm saying false.
I remember him shouting that he loves snow cones, but I don't recall it saying that he had eaten 10. So
It's one of those
I would
ones
say
where it's like he
yes.
only ate 9.
Yes, he did. The tweet did say that he stood in front of a party and said that he loved snow cones, but I don't recall him eating 10. Did you make up the 10 part?
It is true. I did not make up the 10
okay.
part.
Okay.
That he threw a party, said that specifically snow cones had to be present.
Okay.
He proceeded to eat 10 snow cones and then stood in front of everyone and shouted about how he loves
It's
snow
just
cones.
ice with sugar on it.
I read this. I read this thread at 5 a.m.
What were you doing up?
I mean, I just wake up in the night.
All right, we got 2 more.
I am.
Jim Ross once farted in a car with Gerald Briscoe. Jim Ross is an announcer and longtime commentator,
Friend of the show.
Producer, and Gerald Briscoe is also a behind the stage producer on the show, which made Briscoe start gagging and throwing up. Vince heard about that, so backstage at Raw one night, he tried to fart and make Briscoe puke. It backfired and Vince shit his pants.
So many details in that story that I think it's true.
I'm going false.
That's true, James.
It is true.
It's true? That's great.
What I left out of that
Yeah.
is that shortly after this happened, Vince was supposed to take the stage and do a promo, which he did with shit in his pants. And the camera team was advised to only film him from the waist up.
Wow.
So people did see. He usually wears like a gray suit.
I mean, he's
right?
probably, he probably has tighty whities on, so it probably keeps everything up in there. But
That's a great story.
I thought I shit myself jogging the other day. I didn't, but I was scared.
Oh my God. There was one time when I was walking Benson and it was like an emergency. And I was like, Benson, you have to run. Like, I know you're old, but you have
Yeah.
to run.
Farting with headphones on is a bad idea.
okay, here's one. The funniest thing you can do for Vince McMahon is push someone into a pool with all their clothes on.
I'm gonna say false. That seems.
I know I've gone
broad.
false the last 2. I'm going to go false one more time.
It's true.
It is true.
Damn it. He's crazy. I love how crazy
I mean,
he
he's
is.
a 12-year-old trapped in a gorilla's
All right,
body.
this is the last one.
Oh.
All right. Professional arm wrestler Marcio Barboza was a guest on a 2014 episode of Raw. Backstage, Vince insisted on challenging him to an arm wrestling match, which Vince quickly lost. This didn't prevent him from demanding a rematch, which he also lost. For the next 20 minutes, Vince continued to demand rematches despite losing worse and worse each time, all while the show was live. Vince went so far as to insist that Marcio's appearance on the show be delayed so that way he could continue attempting to beat him before other executives stepped in. The last thing Vince said to Marcio, said before Marcio went on stage was a threatening "next time."
I don't remember this one in the thread. That doesn't mean
It's
that
so
not
detailed. I
true.
have to say true,
I gotta say- I
or
gotta
there's
say
just
true.
one detail that's tweaked. But
I got to say true.
yeah,
I got to.
I guess
Elise hasn't read this one yet.
true. I didn't read that one, but I guess it's true.
That is false.
That's such a good story.
I made it up.
really? Yeah. Damn, that was good.
I did look up the name of a professional arm
I
wrestler.
figured out because I was thinking about, if this is false, how would this have been?
You're
you
next.
would have Googled like professional arm wrestler, and then that's where you
That's
would
what I
have
did.
gone from there.
Okay.
That's what I did. Well, thank you guys for coming. I don't remember this. How many? It's not. We all win.
We all
Everyone's
win.
a winner.
Those are
in
great
the Vince
stories,
McMahon story
man.
guessing
that
game.
thread is fantastic.
It's a great
I
thread.
love that
There's a
stuff.
lot more.
Yes.
That's
There's
like
a lot more.
what I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but Scott Michella tweeted a bunch of stories about
I saw
Attack
some.
of the Show.
Oh, yeah.
You should read that thread because it's a
You
fantastic.
should just write a book.
You should.
Yeah, you should.
Just put it out called Attack of the Book and go, what the fuck does it mean?
Well, that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And what's coming up from Funhaus?
We're done. We finished.
We finished with it. We get the
done,
last
yeah, it's
video
over.
airs.
Yep.
If you haven't checked it out,
Oh, Indiana Jones coming out this weekend.
Indiana
Oh,
Jones comes out this weekend.
Yeah.
We just brought back the comment show in a new open house.
Oh, Risk of
Esque
Rain
format.
gameplay?
Now we got Risk of Rain.
Rain
That's
too.
right.
Rain. I also want to add RTX is coming up in July, and you can get 15% off a RTX weekend badge.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We're supposed to only give these out slightly in pieces of show. This isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
But you can use code Funhaus15 now through June 15th to get 15% off an RTX weekend badge. If you want to come out and see us. And that's all I got.
Cool.
You have one more ad read?
Yes, I do have one more ad read to wrap up the show. Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
Speaking of RTX. Yeah. 15. You can save 15% on RTX tickets, but if you want to save 15% or more on everything, you should try Honey. That's something we can all agree on, saving money. The reality is, if you're not shopping around, you're probably not saving money. So what if there is a way for somebody to do the shopping around for you? Well, that's exactly what Honey does. Honey is a free tool that you download to your computer's browser while you shop online. Honey scans the internet for coupon codes and other discounts, then it automatically applies the coupon with the biggest savings to your cart at checkout like magic. It works on over 20,000 sites like Amazon, Nordstrom, J.Crew, Nike, Best Buy, Nordstrom again, Target, Macy's, Nordstrom, and more. And it takes zero effort to install, just 2 clicks, and you're ready to start saving anytime you shop online. But don't just take my word for it. Here's what a couple 5-star reviews had to say. Love Honey. Heard about it through a podcast and I finally caved after hearing their sponsored ads so many times. I can't believe I haven't used it earlier. So useful, and I have saved so much money since I installed it. Was an idiot not to install it before. Tongue out face. And then another review said, didn't think I needed it. Definitely needed it. The second one is a truck driver.
That was definitely.
Yeah, I got that.
And the first one is also a truck driver. Look, there's really no reason not to use Honey. It's free to use and easy to install on your computer in just 2 clicks. Don't take it from me, take it from our viewers. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/dude. That's joinhoney.com/dude. Honey, the smart shopping assistant that saves you time and money. Honey. I added that last little bit.
Nice job. It rhymes with
Because it
honey.
just said money.
Honey
And
and
they
money.
said, they were like, when you do the read, make sure you say saves you time and money. But I was reading it and I was like, money, honey, because it like rhymes.
Great.
You woke me up last night. You said, I think we need something more. This ad read.
I said, what if I do comma honey
That's why
at the
people
end?
call you a writer.
Yeah. And then she said, go sleep on the couch. And he said, I already am.
Thank you for watching this episode of Dude Soup. We're going to come at you right after this, a very quick beat with a little bit of comments show, post show. Not comment show. We will discuss comments, but it's a post show right after this for a little bit. And until then, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Oh.
Nice.
I did it too.
We're not at that point right now, though, where we're like, man, I can't wait for games to look good.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I mean, it could be because I'm getting older, but like, there was a huge deal when Xbox was the thing and PlayStation 2 was the thing, and then they launched Xbox 360 and PS3, and you were like, oh my God, everything's pretty now. Look at it. And it only